Okay, good morning and welcome to Yeshiva YouTube. Iyun to Lean On. Today is a new week of Shulchan Aruch. Yomi, we're doing Siman Kufay and Vav 176. Halachos, Hilchos Dvaram Anag and Masuda, things that apply to your meals when you eat meals. This is a quotation from the Gemara. There's only one halacha today. If you make a bracha on bread, right, you have a bread meal and you eat schnitzel in the middle of your meal, right? Perure, popar peres, which the Shulchan Aruch defines is Perure pas, dak dak shedibkam marakot vash. Now this is an explanation already. You don't know what parperis is, but parperis means anything which is breadcrumbs, made from breadcrumbs. Now people don't eat breadcrumbs themselves. They use breadcrumbs to coat schnitzel and things like that, chicken breast. So if you're eating the meal, obviously it's like any bread meal, it's a food that you eat to fill you up during the meal. Right? It's not a candy. It's not something which is a dessert. So of course it's going to be exempted from the bread. Now the kiddush is the second half where the Gemara says, Berach parperes lo pater as a pas. Make a brach on parperes, which is schnitzel with breadcrumbs, it doesn't exempt pas. Now, obviously it doesn't exempt pas because the bracha of schnitzel is shahakal or mizonos. Now, I'm going to go on a detour for a second. I just want to talk about schnitzel and the bracha for a second because I think there's a lot of confusion. When I was reading the halachas of brachos book, the English brachos book, when I started learning the halachas of brachos, ask your Rav, it's a shaila. What bracha make on schnitzel? Some poskim say mizono, some say make shahakal. And then I asked my Rosh Hashiva, Rabbi Yaakov Friedman. He says, no, you make shahakal. The breadcrumbs are there, right? They're not there for, they're not there to fill you up. They're there just to, add a little taste to the chicken breast. You're eating the main part is the chicken, right? The breadcrumbs are there just, right? It's not a mixture, right? If you have mazonos and a mixture, then you make a mazonos. But it's not really a mixture, it's just a coating on top. So therefore, it's just adding taste to your chicken breast. So therefore, you make a shahakal. And I heard people were saying stories, I remember this, that people came to Yaakov Friedman's Rebbe or Rabbi Hopfer or something like that from Baltimore, where I think Rabbi Yaakov Friedman gets all his psakim from. And he said they bought really thick schnitzel, with lots of breadcrumbs, very little chicken. Now they sell in the stores, they sell schnitzel, parus, they cut up chicken breast cut up very thin. You put a lot of breadcrumbs on. He said, it doesn't make a difference. Even if there's tons of breadcrumbs, a little bit of chicken, you always make a shahakal, because the main part is the chicken. Now, me being someone who's into gourmet food, and I don't like schnitzel, I'll tell you that. I was talking about the regular share how I finally got my wife to make something I do like from chicken breast. Cornflakes is actually pretty good. I remember from Carlos and Gabby's, I like that. Also, you can use tempura, which I do like. Tempura to coat your chicken breast. But if you're going to coat your chicken breast with breadcrumbs, or I even tried buying ground up pretzels, which I didn't like too much, but they were better than the breadcrumb. Breadcrumb is the worst. And everyone in Israel seems to like, the poor people seem to like schnitzel. Everyone loves schnitzel. It used to be my favorite meal when I was younger. I didn't know any better. I didn't know gourmet food. So, but you ask anybody, why are you eating schnitzel? No one likes chicken breast by itself, Schnitzel is very different than chicken breast without the breadcrumbs. So, to me, the main part is the breadcrumbs. I'm sorry, and that's why it's not called gourmet food, because you're eating breadcrumbs. Chicken breast is not a tasty piece of meat. Chicken breast is not tasty. Even grilled chicken is not tasty. You gotta do something with it. That's why everyone takes the chicken breast. The white part of the chicken is not tasty at all. People will eat dark chicken, but some people, they serve on Friday nights, they serve a whole chicken, and they cut pieces of the dark chicken, the tops and the bottoms and the white parts and the dark. No one likes the white. The white has no taste. It's terrible. The dark maybe you could eat by yourself, but schnitzel you make with a chicken breast, the white part. So it really is tasteless stuff. So for sure you make a mazonos on it. I don't think that there's any question in my mind. You make a mazonos, whether it's a thin level of breadcrumbs or a thick level. The reason people like schnitzel is because of the breadcrumbs. So it's for sure the main part. And chicken happens to be part of it, the equation. But that's right. Even Shmuel knows. What bracha you make on schnitzel, Shmuel?
Schnitzel?
Yeah.
From a totally uneducated consumer.
Shmuel makes hadama. All right.
So what bracha do you make on schnitzel?
I'm telling you, the audience, that I think that make a mazonos, even though I was told by my rabbanim that you make a shahakal, no matter how much breadcrumbs you put on it. But let's continue with the share. So the mishnah, the
You like
halacha.
schnitzel?
I don't like schnitzel, and that was the reason I explained why you make a mazonos. People who like schnitzel, they like the breadcrumbs. like the fried breadcrumbs with the oil. That's why they eat it. No one likes chicken breast. White chicken? Come on. No one likes that stuff.
Why?
Because it doesn't tasteless. It doesn't taste good. It has no taste. Tasteless meat. That's why they put the breadcrumbs on. So that's what people are eating. They're eating the breadcrumb that's fried in the oil. That's what they're doing. Basically, you could take the breadcrumbs, just pour some oil on it, and stuff it in the person's mouth. They would like it the same. The chicken is not substantial over there. The halacha states, "Berach al paras lo poter es pas." If you make a bracha on the parperes, the breadcrumb, the schnitzel, you didn't exempt the pas. So of course you didn't exempt the pas. It's mazonos, shahakol, mazonos, right? Technically, if you made a mazonos on bread itself, but it would work. But you can't use a mazonos on something else, on a cookie, to exempt bread. It wouldn't work like that because it's not the proper bracha for bread. So what are we talking about here? Berach al paras lo poter es pas. So I'm thinking, even we're talking about, Rabbeinu Yonah says we're talking about breadcrumbs that you stuck together with soup mix or with honey. Even we're talking about regular breadcrumbs, or put breadcrumbs on a piece of schnitzel, and you wanted to make a bracha on pas. Let's say the pas wasn't even on motzi. It was something which, you took bread or something like that, or you took batter and you made pancakes out of it or something like that. Flour, you made pancakes, which is mazonos. The point is that we're talking about a case where, let's say you go to a wedding or something, and you have a smorgasbord, right? So a smorgasbord, they used to, when I was younger, they have smorgasbord. They would serve all these fancy types of pastas and meat. They had a carving station. I'd imagine that nowadays, I remember like 15 years ago, sometimes on the smorgasbords, and I went to yeshivish weddings, so they didn't have such fancy smorgasbord, but they always have the Chinese chicken, the sesame chicken. So let's say you have schnitzel over there. I can imagine a lot of smorgasbords, if they do have a smorgasbord, they're going to have some schnitzel over there. So the schnitzel is not going to exempt the pas. Even if the pas is a mazonos, it's not going to work. Or mazonos bread, let's say. Mazonos bread, right? Most of it is made of apple juice, the ones they give you on the plane. So,
No, but they call them, that's like those, excuse me, that's what they call like the finger licking, what they Kentucky Fried Chicken, the little, they sell them, very popular. You know what I'm talking about? Like chicken nuggets. You know what I mean?
The chicken nuggets, yeah.
That's what they have by smorgasbord.
Anyway, they have the chicken nuggets, right? Okay, right, chicken nuggets, right, the chicken nuggets. So you make a mazonos something, like I said. Nonetheless, even if the pas is bread, which is mazonos bread, right, which is made from apple juice, still you would make, it wouldn't exempt it because it's a different part of your meal. Parperis, if you're eating schnitzel before the meal, usually it's going to be at a smorgasbord. It's not considered part of the meal. If you want to have an appetizer, you have the appetizer after the bread. That's part of your meal. To have the appetizer before the bread, to have your chicken nuggets, your hors d'oeuvres before the meal, that's not something, right? It's just basically that's halacha telling you. A smorgasbord is distinct from the regular meal. Even if you're having the smorgasbord in the same room as the meal, and they clear away the smorgasbord, they're going to bring you to the meal, and you're going to have something which is mazonos, that's the halacha. Parperes lo pater as a pas, because schnitzel or chicken nuggets, an appetizer before bread, is not part of the same meal. It's considered something. That's what the halacha is. The appetizer is after the bread. If it's before the bread, that's something distinct. And we know a smorgasbord is distinct from the main meal. Some people just come for the smorgasbord and leave because it's much better than the meal anyway. Anyway, that's what I have to say about this halacha. I hope you enjoyed today's share. See you on the next one.